Now, once again, I don't normally include warm-ups, but these are so important for the lesson we're going to do today that I've decided to include this in our little video to begin with. So it says we've got to find the slope of each line. So there's a couple of key ones on here. Number one, the horizontal line, which has a slope of 0. So that's certainly one that's going to be very important. And also the vertical line here, which has a slope of undefined, up and down, is the first two letters of that. They're really crucial for this, for simple questions. Now for the other ones, we've got to find points where they go through whole numbers on the axes. There's coordinates, so these two here, so I go up 3 squares and then across 1 square. So 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So I'm using rise over run here to find the slopes for these ones. For 4, I can certainly see that it goes through here and also this point here. So up 1, across 2. So for number 4, 1 over 2. And we can leave that as a fraction as it doesn't simplify anymore. If we'd chosen points further apart, say here and here, then I would have gone up 2 and then across 4. So 2 over 4 is the same as 1/2. In that case, I would have simplified. So try and pick points as close together as possible. For number 5, I can see those two would work. So up 1, across 1, and 1 over 1 divided by 1 is just 1. Now I've asked specifically for the equations of lines 1 and 3 because the horizontal and the vertical ones you can just write the answer to straight away. Horizontal lines, actually, we just put y equals and then the number it passes through on this y-axis. So in other words, y equals 4. For number 3, vertical lines start with x equals, and it's just what number it crosses the x-axis at. So actually for this one, also 4. So those ones are very simple ones to do, and we're going to be looking more at how you do the equations for numbers 2, 4 and 5 in today's lesson. Now we looked at some of these last lesson. We're going to go into a little bit more depth today. So first thing I'm looking for is where does it cross the y-axis, and I'm going to put that on the end of my answer. And this is all going to start with y equals. Now if we can find the slope, then we can just put that number in front of x, and that's going to give us our equation. So find 2 points just like the warm-up, and then figure out what the slope is. So up 1 across 2, 1/2. And that's all we have to do for these questions. So actually they're pretty quick once you know what you're actually looking for. So for this one here, it goes through positive 1. Start with your y equals, find 2 points on the line, and then work out the slope. Now this one goes down 2 and then across 1. So to show it goes down, we give it a negative value, and negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. So our slope's negative 2, which means our equation is y equals negative 2x plus 1. This one goes through 3 on the y-axis, so I'm going to put plus 3 at the end of my answer. Start with y equals. I want to find the slope for this one. This one goes down 1 and then across 2. So show it goes down, give it a negative sign again. So negative 1 over 2x plus 3, and that's it. So as you can see, these questions actually can be done fairly quickly. Now sometimes the easier ones cause more problems. So this one goes through 0, so plus 0. Y equals, find the slope, and I'll use those 2 points. Up 2, across 3, so 2 over 3x plus 0. And actually, as it goes through 0, we're not going to put that on the end at all. So actually, the answer for this one is just y equals 2/3 x. Let's take a look at this one. This one goes through negative 3. Y equals, find the slope. Get those 2 points, and I can see that it goes down 3 and across 2, so show it goes down, give it a negative sign again, and so on. So as you can see, some of these questions are fairly quick. I've done 7 or 8 questions there in a very short period of time. That should enable you to go ahead and do that worksheet now. Now this was the homework assignment, or it's going to be the homework assignment, and you have to find the slope and y-intercept of, and then give you some equations. Now the first few, if it starts with y equals then something x and a number, this is actually already in slope-intercept form. So for the first one, the slope is simply just 3, and the intercept is negative 2. Slope is 2, intercept is 5. Now if there's no number here, that means this is 1x, so your slope would be 1, and your intercept would be negative 7. Starts with y equals again, so slope is negative 2, intercept is negative 6. No number for this one, so we know this is 1, so negative 1 and 3. This one here actually has no number on the end here, so this could be the same as 7x plus 0. So you could say the slope is 7, y-intercept is 0. Now y equals 6, we need to remember what that is. That's the horizontal line, so it actually has a slope of 0, and it goes through 6 on the y-axis. X equals 3 is a vertical line, so that has undefined slope, and actually never passes through the y-axis. So this is not really appropriate for this question. Now, for all the other questions, we actually have to do a little bit more work because they don't actually start with y equals. So I'm going to erase all these answers, and then we'll do some working out to figure out what these are actually going to be. So if they don't start with y equals, we make them have y equals. So negative 2x we're going to bring to the other side by adding 2x to both sides. So what we actually get is y equals 2x plus 3, which is the same as 3 plus 2x. Slope is 2. Y-intercept is 3. Same idea with this one, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. So we get y equals negative 3x plus 2. Slope of negative 3, y-intercept of 2. Now for this one, slightly different problem. We have 2y rather than y. So if we divide throughout by 2, then that will give us just y. So 10x divided by 2 is 5x, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So a slope of 5, y-intercept of negative 2. This one we actually have two problems. It's 4y, but also we've got negative 2x on the wrong side. So I want to bring the negative 2x to the side first. So 4y equals 2x, positive 2x, plus 12. And now I want to divide by 4. Now 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So a slope of 1/2 and a y-intercept of 3. Now for these last few, these tend to take up a little bit more space. So I'm going to get rid of these few answers here. So for 3x plus 4y, I need to bring the 3x to the other side. So it's going to become negative 3x. And then I need to divide by 4. Now, if it doesn't divide nicely, I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. 12 divided by 4 does work, it's 3. So slope of negative 3/4 and a y-intercept of 3. 2x minus y equals 8, so I'm going to bring the 2x to the other side. So that's going to become negative 2x plus 8. And then now I'm going to change the sign on everything. So this becomes positive y, this becomes positive 2x, and that becomes negative 8. So slope of 2, y-intercept of negative 8. For our next to last question, P, I'm going to bring the 3x to the other side first. So that's going to become negative 3x plus 10. And then I'm going to divide by 5. So as 3 doesn't really divide by 5, I'm going to put 3/5. 10 does divide by 5, and it's 2. So your slope is negative 3/5. Y-intercept is 2. And for your last question, I'm going to bring 2x to the other side first, so that's going to become negative 2x. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3. Now, 2 negatives when I divide is going to become positive, and 2 divided by 3 I'm just going to leave as 2/3. And 24 divided by negative 3 is negative 8. So your slope is 2/3 and your intercept is negative 8. So being able to solve a literal equation is very important for you, so you can actually answer questions like this of what is the slope and what is the y-intercept of an equation.